wartime. And the starry nights were so quiet in Berkshire. By contrast, here, as though time had stopped on the 5th of November, a monstrous everlasting firework party crashed, banged, thundered, roared, and exploded all around him, with flashing and flickerings constantly lighting the sky, until his brain seemed to crumple like a kicked-in compo tin. It was already hot and close, but Raymond couldn't stop shivering. It wasn't just from butterflies over the task ahead. The day before yesterday, during a lull in the fighting, he'd been scribbling a letter to Viridian, who was serving with the regiment in Italy, about the deflection of the sniper's bullet. "Your birthday present stood me in further stead," he had written, when he became aware of the wireless operator receiving a signal, which he'd immediately taken to the adjutant. Raymond had noticed them talking gravely, then wondered if he'd failed the company in some way, as the adjutant approached him with a solemn face. But instead he had said, "Awfully sorry, Raymond. Got some bad news." Viridian had been killed near Casino. As yet there were no details. The worst part was imagining the village postmistress pedalling up the drive with the fatal telegram and not being able to ring home to comfort his parents. For how would they ever recover from the loss of such a golden boy? Viridian, as the elder son, would have inherited Fox's Court and its 50 acres, and the family business, the art gallery in Cork Street, both of which he would have run effortlessly and with such panache. Now the task would fall to Raymond, who had long dreamt of a gentle academic career, writing books on art, and who felt less equipped to run a business than Herod the dog. Raymond had been so sorry for poor shy stammering George VI, having to step into the polished brogues of the glamorous adored Edward VIII. Now he was in the same position. And how would he himself survive without Viridian, whom he'd loved so dearly and who had been so fearless and certain of life, always shielding Raymond from bigger boys, never embarrassed to have a much younger brother hanging around? Raymond glanced back at his volume of Tennyson and at Viridian's strong, sunburnt, laughing face in the photograph, and quoted despairingly, "Death has made his darkness beautiful with thee." Oh, lucky, lucky death. Raymond had thought he was bearing up awfully well, until last night, when he'd stumbled on a poor lone cow on the verge of the road. Refusing to abandon her dead calf, whose back legs had been blown off, unmilked for several days, she was bellowing in pain and desperation. Having been brought up with animals, Raymond settled down to milk her. Only as he finished did he realize her reddy brown flank, where his dark head had rested, was soaked with tears. His platoon, most of whom had been recruited from Berkshire or next-door Gloucestershire, and who knew Viridian and his parents, had been so kind. They hadn't said much, but Private Trays, who was the son of a local blacksmith, had given him a 4-leaf clover. Private Turner had handed over the remains of a bottle of Calvados, and Lance Corporal Formby, who had the charm of the devil, had wheedled 3 brown eggs out of a nearby French farmer, which had been scrambled for Raymond's supper last night. On the other hand, the anguish of losing Viridian had made Raymond even more aware of his responsibility to bring his men safely through the coming action. Beside him, Private Trays had fallen asleep, head on his knapsack. From the faint pink glow in the east, rose doré mixed with a touch of raw sienna. Raymond could see the boy's thin face, darkened with stubble, long lashes drooping over purple shadows, a half-eaten apple browning in his hand. Raymond wished he had pastels and paper. "You must draw for at least a quarter of an hour a day," his father was always telling him. "Then you realize how bloody difficult it is for the artists." Once again, Raymond wondered how he would ever live up to Viridian, who had so charmed both artists and collectors. He had never felt more lonely, no more inadequate.